Hoover Dam still looks alive. Its massive concrete face stands as a monument to 20th century engineering, and the deep blue expanse of Lake Mead behind it appears at a glance to be a permanent fixture of the American West. But the white bathtub ring, stretching hundreds of feet above the current waterline, is already telling you that the system is failing. What looks like a manageable seasonal fluctuation is really a fundamental collapse of the physics required to turn water into light, and the losses are spreading through the power grid from there. Hoover Dam looks alive, but it is already dying, and 29 million people depend on it for water and electricity they assume will always be there. That one visible sign, the receding shoreline of Lake Mead, already tells you the system is changing underneath. We have spent nearly a century treating this structure as a limitless battery, a reliable heart pumping energy into the cities of Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. By the end of this case file, you will understand exactly how that cutoff happens and why the surface gives you no warning before the turbines finally lose the pressure they need to spin. The 29 million people who rely on this system are facing a future where the hardware is present, but the energy is gone. We view Hoover Dam as a triumph of human will over a desert landscape. But through a forensic lens, Hoover Dam is not a permanent source of power. It is a gravity-fed machine that is running out of the weight it needs to function. It is a system reframe. We must stop seeing it as a dam and start seeing it as a pressure vessel that is slowly depressurizing. To understand the foundation of this collapse, we have to look at the most direct visible clue: the intake towers. These four ornate concrete pillars stand in the water behind the dam, designed to pull the lake into the massive pipes that feed the turbines. Look at them. They were built to operate when the lake was hundreds of feet deeper. Today, they are exposed to the sun in ways the original engineers never intended. The concept here is simple. Hydropower is not just about moving water. It is about the weight of the water above the intake. This is called head pressure. When the lake level drops, there is less weight pushing down into those intake towers. Even if the same volume of water flows through, it does so with less force. Map this onto the most recognizable symptom of the dam: the declining power output. The Arizona Power Authority has already observed that the dam is operating at 40 to 50% below the levels seen in the year 2000. That was the last time Lake Mead was truly full. Since then, we have watched the shoreline retreat and the power generation drop in a near-perfect correlation. Take the example of the initial 30% cut in generation that occurred as the reservoir first began its long decline. That was not a mechanical failure. It was the physics of the lake changing. The hardware was fine, but the fuel, which is the weight of the water itself, was vanishing. This brings us to a more revealing clue in the escalation of the crisis. In an attempt to fight back against the laws of physics, the Bureau of Reclamation spent $156 million to upgrade the dam's internal organs. They installed 3 new wide-head turbines at a cost of $52 million each. These are massive, sophisticated pieces of machinery designed to spin more efficiently when water pressure is low. They joined 5 existing wide-head units, creating a fleet of 8 specialized turbines meant to save the dam from obsolescence. But here is the forensic diagnosis. Even with these state-of-the-art upgrades, the projected power capacity loss at the 1,035-foot threshold remains 58%. Without the upgrades, that loss would have been 70%. We spent over $150 million just to move the needle by 12%. This reveals a deeper failure pattern. We are trying to solve a systemic hydrological collapse with mechanical patches. We watch the usable water retreat and we watch the loss spread, realizing that no amount of engineering can replace the missing weight of the Colorado River. Consider the Lincoln County Power District in Nevada. Historically, they drew 70% of their electricity directly from the dam. For them, the visible retreat of the water is not just a scenic concern, it is a direct threat to their survival. They are now being forced to diversify into solar power and lock in market purchases a year in advance because the dam can no longer be trusted to meet the demand. To understand the system, we have to look at the hydrological feedback loop that is currently strangling the Southwest. Hoover Dam operates on a nameplate capacity of roughly 2,080 megawatts. That is a theoretical maximum, a number that exists on paper to describe what the dam could do if the world were perfect. But the system shows that the nameplate capacity is an illusion when the reservoir is empty. If the inflow from the Rocky Mountains held steady, the pressure would stabilize and the symptoms of power loss would ease. But the inflow is not holding. This creates a self-reinforcing system of decline. As the water level drops, the efficiency of every single turbine decreases. To get the same amount of power, you would have to run more water through the system, which would lower the lake even faster. But the dam cannot do that because it is legally bound to release specific amounts of water to downstream users in California and Mexico. The system is trapped between its obligation to provide water and its ability to provide power. By June of 2026, Lake Mead sat between 1,049 and 1,050 feet. That is only 15 feet above the critical 1,035-foot threshold. Arizona water officials have called crossing that line a certainty within the next 12 months. When that happens, the system enters a new phase of failure. The most advanced form of the problem is not a dry lake, but a lake that is too low to work. We often misread a calm blue surface as a sign of health. During the summer months, the water might even look inviting. But through a forensic lens, that calm surface is the most dangerous sign of all. It hides the fact that the lake is approaching a dead pool state. In this state, the water still exists, but it sits below the level of the intake towers. It becomes stagnant. It becomes useless. The same water that made the desert bloom is now the very thing being used against the people who live there. As the generation capacity drops, the fixed operating costs of the dam do not go away. The staff must still be paid. The concrete must still be maintained. The wide-head turbines must still be serviced. This means the cost of every kilowatt-hour produced begins to skyrocket. The Arizona Power Authority has warned that electricity rates tied to Hoover could triple. This is how the system breaks the consumer before the water even runs out. You, the viewer, should watch the 1,035-foot mark. Do not watch the total volume of the lake. Watch the elevation. Every foot of elevation lost is a direct hit to the grid stability of the western United States of America. We are seeing a thinning of our margins. The Central Arizona project, which sources 7% of its energy from the dam, is already adjusting its portfolio. They are moving away from a reliance on the gravity of Lake Mead. This is a quiet structural retreat. The dam is becoming a monument to a climate that no longer exists. It is quietly getting worse while the surface remains deceptively still. You might see a slight rise in the water during a wet winter, but do not be misled. That is a temporary fluctuation in a long-term downward trend. The system is currently built on the assumption of a full reservoir, and we are operating in a reality where the reservoir is permanently depleted. So here's the answer to the question from the beginning. This is how 29 million people get cut off. As the water level drops toward the 1,035-foot threshold, the physical pressure required to spin the turbines vanishes, forcing a 58% reduction in power. That causes electricity rates to triple and triggers a cascading failure across the regional power grid. This is not a projection of some distant future. This is the system working exactly as it is currently built, following the immutable laws of physics that no $150 million upgrade can override. Hoover Dam is not dead yet, but that is the point. The crisis is not in the final collapse, but in the long, visible decay that we are currently witnessing. The bathtub ring is not just a mark of where the water used to be. It is a forensic record of a system that has already failed to sustain itself. The 29 million people who depend on this water don't see the mechanism of head pressure or turbine efficiency. They see the surface. They see a blue lake and a white wall of concrete. Now you see the machine underneath. You see the hundreds of missing megawatts and the utilities panicking to buy power a year in advance. You see that the surface health is a lie. The collapse of Hoover Dam is a story of a machine running out of fuel, even though the fuel is the very thing we see when we look at the water. It is a forensic reality that we can no longer ignore. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to look at these systems with me. If you found this case file helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. It really helps me continue to produce these deep dives into our changing world. Tell me in the comments which water body I should cover in the next case file. I am already looking into several other reservoirs and coastal systems that are showing these same hidden signs of stress. Until next time, keep watching the surface, but remember to look for the mechanism.